We're still in Christmas mode over here, and if you're like me and need to give presents to the wonderful teachers and staff at your children's school and you're not too sure what to give them, try giving them a bulk pack of yummy treats. I decided to make cupcakes because I know that most people like cupcakes, and I tried to keep it as simple as possible in terms of the flavour. I ended up making 66 chocolate cupcakes and changing the flavours of the frosting so that it would taste like a different bite each time. The flavour of this particular cupcake is salted caramel because I think salted caramel is probably one of the best flavours you can get when it comes to cupcakes, and when you pair it together with chocolate, it's even better. I wasn't too sure what to do in terms of the design, so I decided to keep this particular cupcake fairly simple. Then we moved on to a red coloured cupcake, which of course Christmas season needed to reflect some kind of Christmassy tone, so I decided to make this flavour peppermint. I personally wasn't too much of a fan of the peppermint frosting, but I did get reports that it was quite delicious, so that's something. These cupcakes started with the intention of looking a little bit like a Christmas flower, but the more I got into it, the more leaves or petals these Christmas flowers had, and it started to slightly just look like frosting on a cupcake in an attempt to make a Christmas flower. So I kept going with it. I didn't think it looked too bad in the end, and like I said, the reports that we received after gifting these Christmas cupcakes was that they were beautiful to look and eat. Popping on some gluten-free sprinkles on top. Now, all of these recipes for these buttercreams are basically the same base, but with different flavourings, and there is 2 kinds of buttercreams that I've used. So far you've got the salted caramel and the mint, which are the same base, save for the flavouring. And then now you'll see that we're going to be moving on to a new flavour, which is the traditional vanilla. So with these particular cupcakes, I wanted them to still look Christmassy, but I didn't want to sit there and try and figure out snowmen or different patterns. I had a lot to ice. So these are simple vanilla cupcakes in the traditional cupcakey fashion with just a swirl of icing on top. Again, the base of this buttercream is the Swiss meringue buttercream that I used on the first 2 flavours of cupcakes, but instead of having salted caramel or peppermint flavouring, it is with vanilla flavouring. So when you're making this, you can make all the same batch of icing. Don't colour any of it. Portion it out based on the volume of cupcakes that you have, and then just tint and flavour those portions. So you're not sitting there and making 5 batches of buttercream. You're making the 1 batch and you're just dividing it out and flavouring it as you need it. It saved me so much time, and it looked really good in the end, having the different flavours with the different patterns. So what flavour is up next? This is where I decided to change the base of the frosting. So instead of it being this Swiss meringue frosting, I swapped to a butter frosting, just a plain butter, no egg whites, and I flavoured it with peanut butter and Reese's peanut butter cups, which are gluten-free here in Australia, and topped it with some delicious caramel sauce. This is also gluten-free here in Australia, but please do check the bottles because this particular brand of Hershey's used to specify that it was gluten-free, and now it's a may contain gluten. I've always had no issues with it, so I think it's more of just a disclaimer. Please just keep checking your labels before you just assume that something is gluten-free. These cupcakes were probably the best flavour that I liked, other than of course the salted caramel. And finally we have our honey flavoured cupcakes. I'm not really a fan of the honey flavour, but I thought it was something nice that you could decorate with gluten-free violet crumbles. Now you probably can't read that label, but it does say gluten-free on the packet. And with honeycomb, when you cut it in half like I have and leave it exposed to the air, whether it's in an airtight container or whatnot, the honeycomb goes from being crisp to kind of gooey and sugary. But again, everyone seems to like how that crystallizes and tastes. So you're probably counting and saying that's only 60 cupcakes, and you're right. The other 6, we tried 4 of them, and we had 2 spare, which we ended up needing to make with fresh buttercream for someone who missed out on getting cupcakes. Thanks for watching. I hope you give this a try.